general requirements for citizenship. A lot of people get confused on the idea of being physically present here and how long do you have to be physically present to qualify versus have you maintained a residence here and do you qualify. You have to meet both of those things. It's possible to have the right physical presence amount but not be able to show to the satisfaction of the Immigration Service that you've maintained a residence here. And I work a lot with that. So, you know, it's something I love doing. I love being able to help people try to sort that out, but it's something to be mindful of. I mentioned at the beginning, my father's family originally was from Lebanon. When people hear my last name, they know immediately it's a Lebanese name if they're familiar with it at all. And so, you know, a lot of my Lebanese clients, they think, well, I've got the right number of days, so I'm going to apply, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to show that you had a residence here. And this happens because, I think, because Lebanese people have this entrepreneurial spirit. They're people who love to do business, and a lot of my Lebanese clients will go overseas, you know, run a business there, come back for just enough time to be eligible, but they can't show they've maintained enough of a residence here to qualify. So being mindful of the difference in those two things and being sure that you're going to prove that you need both is really important. And another thing that people don't always think about or know, if you look under must have maintained a residence, that second bullet point, if someone's absent from the US for 1 year or more, it's going to push back their ability to apply for citizenship. They have to file based on being a resident for 5 years. That year or more out of the US is going to mean they have to wait 4 years and a day before they can apply again, and that is statutory. It's not discretionary. There's no way around it. So one of my Lebanese clients was out for a year and a few days, and he came back and he said, I'm ready to do this now. And I said, no, we need 4 years and a day, and then you're ready. And he said, but I said, there is not a way around this, and you have to know that. Like, you need to know that if you do this again, the same effect is going to happen. If you happen to be someone who's able to file for citizenship based on being a resident 3 years and married to a citizen, it's going to push it back 2 years in a day. So people have to know that those year-long absences, even if you have a re-entry permit and you don't lose your residence, it'll delay your ability to file for citizenship. So knowing that is important. And another thing I want to mention, because it's just funny, is that when you are married to a United States citizen and you're going to file for citizenship based on being married to a citizen and having residence for 3 years, married to does not just mean legally married. If you were separated from your spouse, you have to show that you were living in marital union. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Like, it just sounds like a beautiful thing. You were living in marital union with this person. So when people come to me and they say, well, I mean, we've been separated, but I mean, we're legally married, I tell them, no, that does not work. You have to be together, like married and living together. Not separated, not we might divorce after this, we're working on it, no. So,
do children impact that in any way if it's a non-traditional relationship, say not married but have a kid?
No, they do not. So, you know, children, if the couple has children together, it's a great way to show that that was a bona fide marriage, that there really was an intent to be together. It wasn't a sham marriage, but it's not going to change the dates for purposes of filing for citizenship. So many people I represent who obtain residence based on marriage, and where the marriage later doesn't work out, they often, I'm able to help them keep their residence here even though the marriage has ended, even when they're conditional residents and the marriage has ended before they've even removed the conditions on their residence. So they oftentimes there's a way to keep their residence here, but for purposes of filing for citizenship, they won't be able to file under the 3-year married to a U.S. citizen rule, kids or no kids. So yeah, those are basic, some of the basic tenets of filing for citizenship. And the last thing I can say about it is there is a section in the Immigration and Nationality Act on expedited naturalization, and I love doing these cases. I have a lot of fun with them. They're great. The basic requirements are a person who is a resident, who's married to a United States citizen, whose U.S. citizen spouse is being transferred overseas by a U.S. company to work overseas for 1 year or more, can file for citizenship. Doesn't matter how long they've been here, doesn't matter how long they've been a resident. So that is a really, really special provision, and not a lot of immigration practitioners run into that or familiar with it. But I love doing these, and so where I have somebody who's working for a company that is publicly traded only on the New York Stock Exchange, like maybe Shell or Chevron or something like that. You have a permanent resident who's married to a U.S. citizen that works at Shell or Chevron or a U.S. company like that, and the company's moving the spouse overseas for at least a year, and they're saying, well, maybe I'll give up my green card, maybe I'll get a re-entry permit. I tell them, no, let's do something else. Let's do something more permanent that will protect you no matter where you end up later on. And it's really important to know about that. It's a very special provision and not everybody gets to use it. So you definitely don't want to file for it unless you are 100% sure you qualify. But it's a great thing for people in that situation to be able to use. So I like to mention that because I always run into people who are residents and they think, well, I just don't have enough time here, or we're about to leave, so there's no way I can do this right now. And I want to be sure people know about that.